Okay, welcome guys. As I'm sure most of you know me, my name is Assistant Professor Bilal Al-Khattar Al-Kattar. Uh, you guys, I think, are very tired and bored by this point. So I did something really, really nice for you guys. I filled this presentation with bad jokes. So hopefully we'll have.
You're a bad joke, that's fine.
Bad jokes? So here, this is what we're going to be going to, inshallah. It doesn't rhyme like I want it to, your way to Norway, but it's close enough. Your way to UK. Yes, so you guys better get used to it. This was just the start. So before anything, I'm just going to give an overview of what we're going to talk about in the presentation. First, we're going to talk about abbreviations because there's a lot of abbreviations, and without knowing them, you're going to be lost. What's the UKFP program? What are the exams and the paperwork that we need to do? Is it difficult, hard, or impossible? We're going to bust some myths. How much does it cost to become a doctor in the UK? We're going to talk about money, my favorite subject, and we're going to talk about locuming, and is it really worth the headache to do all of this stuff and go to the UK? Please, no accessory laser, whatever. So, I know. Stop, Sonia, stop, please. Some technical jargon, abbreviations. First, IMG, International Medical Graduate. This is going to be us. Anytime you see this, think of it as yourself, because anyone who graduated outside of UK is an international medical graduate to them. The UKFP, you're going to hear a lot about this because that's our aim. Is the UK Foundation Program, and we're going to go into a lot of detail, hopefully, afterwards. The FPP and the AFP are sister programs of the UKFP. We're going to talk what's different between them and the UKFP. UKFPO is the Foundation Program Office. These are the guys that run everything. And then we have the PLAB, and this is the test that we have to take, and the FPCC. When you finish your foundation program, you're going to get a completion certificate. I know these are a lot of abbreviations, and I'm going through them a bit fast, but don't worry. I only care about one abbreviation, and that's at the end. So even if you forget all of this, we're going to come back to it usually within the topic that we're going to discuss. CREST is another form of way to go into the UK, is the Certificate of Readiness to Enter Specialty Training. Don't worry, it's complicated right now, but hopefully we're going to talk about it and it's going to clear up. The EEA is the European Economic Area. It's going to be important because they are our competitors, not the Indians per se. These are people from Hungary, Poland, Ukraine, that are European countries, and they want to go into the UK. Their pathway is going to be a bit easier because they're in the European Union. MRCP and MRCS.
But England isn't in the European Union.
It wasn't, it's not in the UK European Union anymore, but it was easier for them. And we're going to talk about what's differentiating us from them. MRCP and MRCS, I think you've seen this maybe next to doctors' names in clinics and stuff like that. It's basically a membership in the Royal College of Physicians or Surgeons. And we have the last abbreviation, the most important for last, is the IWAH. And like trois, if you forget all of the ones in the beginning, don't forget this one. This is the most important. And it stands for Dr. Ibrahim, why are you so handsome? And this is a secret. I'm sorry, I can't tell you guys everything. So,
it's the height, bro. It's the height.
So the United Kingdom Foundation Program, we're going to see what it is. It's the UK's equivalent of internship. What is internship? Internship is basically your first year as a doctor. It's basically the scariest year because a few months ago you were a doctor, you were a medical student, and now you're a doctor and everything is reliant on you. You have to know everything and all that. So that's their internship. The UKFP is 2 years long, 2 years, and your rank is going to progress from an FY1, which is your first year as a foundation program doctor, to FY2, and your responsibilities and your pay grade is going to increase basically with the years. And when you get into the UK Foundation Program, you're going to be a doctor in training, and you're going to say, okay, so if I'm a doctor under training, how much do I have to pay them to train me? It's actually quite the contrary. They're going to be paying you to do soap notes, ordering tests, and basically being a glorified secretary for the consultants. And your first salary is going to be approximately £3,000, your first paycheck, that's before taxes, and we're going to talk about that in detail.
Question.
Yes?
For example, like here after graduation, the rotation is whatever you want to call it, it's
Yeah.
2 years. Is it also 2 years?
Yeah, it's 2 years here as well, FY1 and FY2.
But the payment is more and better opportunity.
We're going to talk about that step by step, please. We talked about the UKFP. Now the FPP and the AFP, these are what I like to call the sister programs of the UKFP. So the FPP is the Foundation Priority Program. Why is the word priority there? Because they're going to give you extra rewards. They're going to make it easier for you to get into these specialties. They're going to give you more benefits because these specialties are harder to fill. These seats are usually left empty because no one wants to go to psychiatry or pathology. Emergency medicine, a lot of people want to go to it. Yeah, I'm serious. According to the statistics, we're going to look at it afterwards. Emergency medicine, a lot of people go to it, they like it, but it has a low amount of retention. The doctors who do a rotation in emergency medicine, they say, oh, it's hectic, I'm going to die soon or because of stress or something like this, so they go to other specialties and general practitioners. So you're going to get, even I think they give you a vacation to New Zealand or Australia if you do one of these programs, just to make the deal a bit more sweeter. Questions? Academic Foundation Program, on the other hand, is something for those who would like to become university lecturers or, let's say, lecturers or administrators. So it's a pathway for people to get into academia rather than medicine. Of course, you're going to be rotating through specialties, but you're going to have a block specifically for academic teaching, teaching opportunities and whatnot. So you can apply to all of these, by the way. If you really like psychiatry or pathology or any of the other ones, you can apply to this instead of the UK Foundation Program, and you get all the perks that are associated with it. And they have their own seats, different from the UK Foundation Program seats. Now this picture might look a bit intimidating. This is basically the thing that we have to do, our pathway from beginning to end right here. First, we're just going to concern ourselves with the first step. Forget about the other ones. We're going to just do this portion right now. Before you apply to the UK Foundation Program, you have to be eligible to apply. Now, how do you know if you're eligible? We go to the eligibility. Eligibility is basically you submit a few documentations and papers online to show the General Medical Council that you are eligible to apply for the UK Foundation Program. Now, what are the things that make someone eligible? First, you have to have graduated from medical school. You can't be a medical student and apply for the foundation program. You have to have graduated. You have to have your primary medical qualification, your PMQ, or basically your MBBS, Medical Bachelor and Bachelor of Surgery. Or if you're going to be graduating really soon, but you want to do the eligibility application, but you still don't have your PMQ, you can get a letter from your dean telling you that this student is going to graduate by the time the UKFP is going to start. After that, English language proficiency. They have to know that your English is good, so you have to do either IELTS or OET. Now, IELTS is available in our country, and we're going to talk about the price too, but OET is not available in Iraq. I googled it and did a bit of research. It's not available here, it's available in Saudi Arabia and a few other countries, and it's more expensive than IELTS. So I think it's the reasonable choice to do IELTS rather than OETs.
What about PTE?
PT, they're not going to accept it. This is the only two things that they accept, unfortunately. I tried to do that too. And then no internship experience. If you want to apply to the foundation program, you can't have done any internship in your country. If you've done that, you're overqualified for the UK foundation program. You have to do something else. Join at a later date or something like that, because the foundation program is for freshly graduated medical students. So these are the criteria, and UK students, they don't have to do all of this because they get nominated by their own schools. So basically when they finish, they get nominated and they get a spot after they do their exams, if they pass. Now, exams and the prices. The price to go to the UK is unfortunately very high. I'm not talking about money. You have to sell your soul to the immortal vampire known as Queen Elizabeth.
This year.
So, First, you need your primary medical qualification, like we talked about. This is expensive because you pay tuition for the university. Then you need IELTS, or International English Language Testing, and whatever. £220, $350. This is the fixed price. Or if you want to do OET, Occupational English Testing, it's £350, $445. So a bit more expensive. Plus, you have to travel outside of the country to do it. And then PLAB 1, the Professional and Linguistics Assessment Board Test. It's £239. I didn't really have enough energy to calculate it into dollars. And the nice thing about PLAB 1 is that both of them, sorry, not just PLAB 1, they're both pass or fail. It's a score out of 300, and passing is 192 if I'm not mistaken. So if someone gets 192 and someone gets 298, they're basically equal because it's pass or fail. It's not a numerical test. Their grade doesn't really matter. And talking about PLAB 1, where can we take it? You can't take it in Iraq, unfortunately. You have to get into a testing center in these countries. You can go to Australia, Bangladesh, these are Canada, Egypt, Ghana, or you can go to Pakistan, Karachi, Sudan, Khartoum, where was Bangalore, India. But the nearest one is Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. So you have to go to Saudi Arabia. You can do Hajj as well.
Which country is the closest?
Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia.
تكون زين يعني الوقت حاجة نسبيا كم
You have timing, doctor, timing, you know. Spain also, if you want to do a vacation and go to Madrid. So you can call all of these and the emails are there, and you can book your PLAB 1. So let's go to SJT. Question? No. SJT is the situational judgment testing. This, in my opinion, is more important than the PLAB because the grade is going to matter, and it's for free, by the way. It's not for money. We're going to talk about it in detail. Here is not enough to give it justification. PLAB 2 is more expensive because it's an OSCE type examination. They have to get fake patients, a center, and it's only done in the UK, by the way, PLAB 2. You can't take it in Bangalore, India, or Dhaka, Bangladesh, and it's £850 plus the cost of the flight and stay in the UK. Yes.
How long after the PLAB 1 can you do the PLAB 2?
I think it's about like a year apart you can do them, but for your application process, it's better to do it in the allocated dates. We're going to talk about the process in detail. Don't worry. After that, some people have to do the CAT exam. This is for those who have graduated 2 years, have been graduated 2 years, but they want to do the foundation program. Let's say they took a gap year or something like for 2 years, not 1, 2. Then they have to do a clinical assessment test. It's another OSCE, and they have to pass it. But this is not going to be done for us if we apply directly. Yes?
Is it applicable for those who do internship in their country and then they apply, or?
Yes, I think if you do 2 years of internship in your country and then you want to join the foundation program, yes, you have to do the CAT exam. Yes.
For the PLAB 2 to travel to UK, is it easy to get the visa and stuff?
If you ask, I'm doing PLAB 2 examination, I'm a medical student, doctor, yeah, it's easy, even if you have an Iraqi passport.
Student visas are easy to
Mhm.
and they last longer, they're cheaper.
And after that, basically for the whole process, travel and accommodation included, expect to pay north of £2,000, but no more than £2,500. Unless you go into a 5-star hotel.
What about your food and stuff?
Yeah, well, I mean, depends on how much you eat.
How much is that in freedom dollars?
Freedom dollars, a
3,000,
pound is 1.25 times more than a dollar. So times this by 1.25 and you get the price. But
2,700 to 3,400.
yeah, so yeah, something similar to that in the ballpark. And by the way, I forgot to put the number, but if you want to go to the USMLE, it's going to cost you 10 times as more, $20,000, because the USMLE is more expensive, the paperwork and the travel is more expensive.
how much is it?
$20,000.
Yes.
Yeah, USMLE, Duda Federaten. for you to be able to do the whole pathway. So PLAB is much cheaper, and because PLAB is much cheaper and it's easier because you don't get basic sciences like microbiology and biochemistry. Yes.
Can I say there's also like a pattern going on where doctors from the UK go to US and they...
We will talk about that. That's definitely a big point and a great question. So how do they rank applicants? If the PLAB is pass or fail, we talked about the SJT and we're going to talk about it now. How do they know a graduate from, let's say, here is more valuable than here? Which one is the better candidate? How they differentiate the people? So they do that by something called the educational performance measure. This is the way they weigh people and see which one is doing better. It's a score of 100, and if you get 100, you can do basically whatever you want because you're a genius. Part 1 of your EPM is the PMQ, your MBBS. So how does that happen? It accounts for 43% of 100%. And how is this calculated, your primary medical qualification? They divide your medical school class, they divide our class per se, into 10 equal portions, 10 deciles, what they like to call it. And the top decile gets 43. The decile under that gets 42. The third decile gets 41. All the way to me, or if Ahmed was here, us, you get 34 in the bottom. So the higher you are in the food chain in your classroom, the higher your point is going to be.
The decile that you mentioned, how
Yeah.
do they rank us?
How do they, what do you mean, right?
Like you said, decile or decile, who decides?
It's 10%, so the top 10% of the class gets 43. The 10% under that, the top
Like
20.
we're 10 students, right?
Yeah, we're 10 students, so each student is 10% of the class. So the top person gets 43, but there's more calculations needed. So the top person gets 43 and the bottom person gets 34. And if you get more points, you have better chances of getting a spot. But it's not really a big deal. It's not really a big deal unless you have really, really bad scores. Unless you have a really, really bad score, it's not going to matter that much. Next, additional academic achievements. If you get a master's degree, a PhD, if you do research, you get 7 points, which are going to complete the 43. But the good news is, and we're going to talk about this later, this has been thrown away. So basically, the PMQ now accounts for 50. Because why? They said people are not doing research because they love research. They're going to do research or get a PhD or master's degree for the sole reason of getting these 7 points. So they removed it, and they said it's a poor factor differentiator. People from poor countries, they can do research and they don't have the opportunities. But people from, let's say, better European countries, they get an unfair advantage. So they removed the 7 points. And now if you graduate top of your class, you're going to get 50. And if you graduate bottom of your class, you're going to get 40. So it's better.
So only a 10-point difference.
Yeah, 10
Top
point.
and bottom.
Exactly, 10-point difference. And this 10 point is not really a big thing unless you do really poor in part 3. The SJT is the most important one. It accounts for 50 points. And it's not going to test you on, let's say, medicine. It's not going to tell you, give me the diagnosis for this disease, or what investigations would you order for this. This is PLAB 1. This is what's going to happen at PLAB 1. And the SJT, it's called the situational judgment test. They're going to test your judgment. They're going to see how you think. If you remember the UKCAT that we did, there was something called rank the most appropriate action. So what they're going to do, they're going to give you a scenario. They're going to say, you're medical, let's say you're a junior doctor, you're in the ER, you're alone, and you get a patient with neck swelling or something like that. What is the most appropriate action to do? The first one we're going to say, escalate the problem to your senior, tell your senior. The second one is going to be, tell the nurse to do a cannula. The third one is going to be, go have a break, get some coffee. The other one, have a break, have a Kit Kat or something like that. So you're going to rank it according to that. And basically that's it. So they're just going to test your way of thinking. And there are courses online that are going to help you to get a better grade. So it's possible for us to get a good grade if we prepare early on. So that's how you get your 100 point. 50 here, and this is thrown out of the window. And we're going to talk about the cutoff scores and stuff like that afterwards. So we finished eligibility, and now you do national application. Let's just skip this for now. Yeah, so this slide is really important. It's dark and empty, just like my heart. The foundation...
I don't think you can see me there because I'm dark as well, that's why, huh?
That's the problem, Allah Dictor.
Alhamdulillah.
So, I told you there's going to be a lot of bad jokes. So this is a map of the UK and all the foundation schools that you can apply to. Based on your score, you're going to apply to these schools. There are 20 schools, let me magnify that.
Where is the highest?
20 schools. Okay, listen, I'm going to explain this now. So all these 20 schools, you have to rank them. Let's say I really like Scotland, and I have to rank all 20, by the way. I have to put Scotland on the top. If I really like Northern Ireland, I'm going to put that second. If I like Oxford and all of that, I will put it, I'll put it under that.
Where?
Huh?
Where?
Northern Ireland.
Where was it from?
Yeah, Northern Ireland. So you're going to rank it based on that. And there are 20 schools. What is a foundation school? It's a group of hospitals, minimum of 5, that you're going to be rotating through. Let's say there's a hospital for gynecological disease, there's a cardiac center, there's like a center for orthopedic surgery and trauma, a trauma center. So you're going to be rotating through these specialties, which are in this foundation school. So let's see the map. Here you got Wales, number 15. It has all the hospitals in Wales, and you're going to be rotating through these. And they have programs. So let's say you don't want gynecology or something like that, you want to do vascular surgery. You're going to go into like general surgery, then vascular surgery, then cardiothoracic. You want to rotate through the surgery, so you pick the program that you want in this foundation school. So, which one is the most competitive, which one is the worst, which one is the best? All of them are the same. They are all under the NHS, which is a standardized body. There is no foundation school that's better than the other one. They all have same facilities. There is no hospital, let's say in Plymouth, that has no cardiac, no ECG or something like Iraq or something like
I
this.
understand that, but like, for example, Oxford has a better reputation than, let's say.
Yeah, reputation and prestige, that is a factor. Now let's see this thing. So this table showcases all the schools, foundation schools from East Anglia to Essex to Wessex to Yorkshire and Humber, and it showcases the places, how many seats they have in each year. So East Anglia, for example, has 250 seats for the year of 2020. This one is for the year of 2020. So they're going to accept 257 foundation doctors. How do they pick these foundation doctors? We go here. The lowest allocated score here was 72.9. So remember the educational performance measure? You get a score, and if it's more than 72.9, you get a spot in East Anglia. What is interesting is anything with London next to the name is going to be competitive. 85 and 84 in the educational performance measure. Is London really better? No, they're even like more rates of burnout because it's a high population density area. There are going to be more patients and more people to care for. And plus, the only thing that they say makes it very competitive, because it's a high population density area, there's a lot of people in London and limited amount of seats, so they all apply there because they don't want to move to a different part of the UK. Yeah, so they stay here, and that's why the competition here is really high. And if you go to other ones, we have 69 here for Wales. There's even less than that, 68. So the average for the year of 2020 was 68.8. If you get more than 68.8, you're going to get a spot, hopefully. And this is the primary list. There's even a secondary list. Some people back down, they can't do it, they take a break here. In the secondary list, you get allocated a spot. When I talked to the doctor, the internal medicine doctor that I did an interview with, I told her, what if in the year, let's say 2023, I get 67? Am I going to get accepted? She said, back in 2021, this year, they made extra seats for anyone because they're in such a dire need of doctors. There was no secondary list that year. They only had primary list because they're really, really deficient in doctors, and they're going to open a spot for anyone that's going to apply. And it's not a lot of people, by the way. Not a lot of people apply. We're going to talk about the statistics about that too. So these are the scores. If you don't get a score high enough for any of these, you're going to go into the secondary list. If there's a secondary list, if some of these people back down, they get sick or they get married or pregnant or whatever, you're going to go into their space, their spot. Yeah, this is another dark and empty slide just to confirm that my heart is dark and empty. So, I remember when we had a meeting with Mr. Bill last time, Dr. Noah, her name was Noah, yeah. She said it's very competitive and we can't compete with Indian doctors and Bangladeshi doctors, all of that. So I asked the doctor that I interviewed, is that the case? Is it really true? We're going to look at the number of people that applied to the UK Foundation Program in the year 2020. 909 people applied. Only 909. You might say that's a lot, but guess what? They finished the eligibility. Some of them, they were missing documents. They missed their exam dates. They had other plans. Maybe they changed their mind. The number that remained was 635 out of 909. And out of the 639, some of them go into the Foundation Priority Program, some of them go into the Academic Foundation Program, so it's not all that they're going to go into the UKFP. Here we have EEA medical schools, the European Economic Area medical schools. We talked about Hungary, Poland, Cyprus, all of that. 309 students from Europe applied. We have non-EEA UK medical schools. These are people like us from India, Bangladesh, and Micronesia. 336 people applied for the year 2020. UK medical schools, these are the people who took, let's say, 2 break years, who didn't want to do foundation right away, so they missed their nomination, they have to apply themselves. So they applied, 175 people applied. And the total of 909, we talked about it, only 600 applicants were deemed eligible for the FP, and only 248 were fully eligible by the end. 248. Now we're going to go into the eligibility office and the UK nominees. So in the year of 2020, again, UK nominees, the people who graduated from a UK medical school, they were 6,681 students. They graduated from a UK medical school. And 97% of them, they got into the primary list. And only 2% of them got into the reserve list. Now here, for the eligibility office, 432, they were nominated through the eligibility office. 338 were allocated primary list spots, so they got in right away. And 94 people got into the reserves. So yeah, even in the reserves, there is a chance if you have the highest score in the reserve, they're going to choose you. But keep in mind, there wasn't even a reserve last year, so it's in our advantage to apply.
Question.
Yes.
If you, for example, get waitlisted, basically reserved in
Yes.
do you still have a chance to maybe like come back to the country and practice?
Yeah, of course. You can back down, withdraw your application and come back to your country. Or you can try another round of a foundation program.
What can you try if you...
Next year you can try. Or you can do internship in your own country and then go to the UK. That's also an option that we're going to talk about. So the good news here, my fellow street criminals, is 2 things. The right to work in the UK. Before 2020, remember Dr. Noah said you only have 5% chance to get into the UK? She was correct, but that was before 2020. People who did not hold a UK passport or they didn't have a European passport, they were automatically put in the reserve list without being allocated in the primary list. So only places that were not filled during the primary trial international medical graduates like us would get. But now they are in such a dire need of doctors, they demolished this decision. Anyone, it's basically merit-based. If you have a higher score, you're going to have more chance of getting into a foundation spot than them. So if you get a good score, you get a good thing.
Will there still be this dire need of doctors when you graduate?
What?
This need of doctors, will they still have this need?
Doktoren wait. Doktoren wait. So this is the first good news, that they really need doctors, and we're going to get into the primary list if we get a good score, if we prepare from early on. And now it's not 5%. You're equal to medical graduates in the UK. It's not 5%. You have a really good chance of getting accepted. You just have to work on your score, and that's it. Just even get a good score in the SJT. The SJT is more important than the PMQ. I mean, if you get a 50 in that, or 40 or something like that, it's going to be really good. Second one was the EPM score that we talked about. After the year of 2023, they're not going to account for bachelor degrees, masters, and all of that. So after 2023, our year, they're not going to count for that. Now they do count masters and PhDs for people who apply. So in our year, we have an advantage. They're not going to count that from now on. So basically from October 2022, they're not going to accept any more masters, PhDs as additional achievements. Now, let's say this is the first case is for UG6s. This is what I wanted them to see. How would you apply if you want to go to the foundation program? Let's say you've got your final exams on February. You get your primary medical qualification. You graduate in May. When do you apply? Basically, in July, you have to have your paperwork ready and signed. In August, you can do your IELTS or OET, or before that, because IELTS is 2 years, it expires in 2 years. You can do that before in April or March if you have nothing to do. And the eligibility application window, it's really important. If you miss this window, you miss the whole thing. So you have to apply early on for the eligibility. What was the eligibility? Your IELTS and OET and your primary medical qualification, and that's it, you're eligible. After that, you're going to do the actual application in late October, early November, and then you have to do your PLAB 1 in November, clinical assessment for the people who are 2 years, or they have more than 2 years graduation, and then you do your SJT in December. And after that, you do your second SJT window, by the way. So if someone misses the first SJT window or there's not enough spots, there's going to be a second trial, and then you can do PLAB 2 March, April, and then in May you're going to get provisional registration in the GMC, and then in August you're a foundation doctor.
So for a year, you just sitting at home?
Yeah, these are the UG6s for us. This is for us.
One question. If someone is now UG6 but wants to apply with us,
Yes.
with us, how is that?
She or he is going to be a year ahead from us.
Yes.
So if let's say you and this person want to go to the UK at the same time, you don't want them to go before you, they have to apply for something called FY2 standalone. Remember FY1 and FY2, the 2 years of the
Yeah, but
foundation
if they
program?
want to like repeat FA1,
FY1, they can. They can. if
they
they
can
want to.
just apply in
They can
2023
apply
like
with you.
us.
Yeah, yeah. They can apply and say, I want to start fresh. That's, yeah.
But then they shouldn't be doing any rotations here or any practice.
They can do internship. They're going to be overqualified, but they can forego the internship that they have done. Say, I didn't really benefit from it or something like that, and start fresh from the UK Foundation program. But basically, you're going to miss a year.
Yeah.
But of course, the education is not going to be missed. The skills and the stuff that you pick up is going to stay with you. Yes.
In that case, it will double my economic-wise because you repeat the year twice and you stay there, right?
That's true.
Can that person stay here 1 year, not without anything, just empty, and then apply again?
That's-
or he,
that's-
Take a
or
break.
in that case, the person should wait for 2 years and then apply for the CAD.
That's the thing. It's going to be a bit problematic if you're going to wait, because they're going to see why did you have this gap, or why didn't you go into. That's the problem that our students have. Why haven't they gone into internship? Why did they have a gap year or something like that? They were in.
They're not qualified.
Yeah. So what they had to do was apply either through CREST or FY2 standalone. But if this person wants to start fresh, they have to provide justification of why they did what they did. Why did they have a gap year? Why did they do nothing or didn't go into internship?
We essentially have a gap year, right? We graduated, let's say, June,
Yeah.
July. So we're not going to start until
We're the
next
class of,
August.
yeah, exactly. We're the class of 2023, 2024.
So we will start in 2024.
Yeah,
Graduate
we graduate in mid-2023, we're going to start in
So you have a
mid-2024.
year off, basically.
You have a year off for exams. You have to study for those exams. So it's not going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
I mean, it's something.
You have a year, that's the good thing. You can prepare for the plan. Even if you don't prepare from now, you're going to have time to prepare it then. But it's of course better to be ready always. Yes, Victoria, you have a question?
So this is for 2023.
This is for us.
This is after we graduate in July. We should
Yes.
immediately apply.
Yes, so us,
So not this year, because that
Not
day you
this
said in 2000.
Yeah, I made a mistake that time. Exactly, I made a mistake about the dates and the calculations.
Question.
Yes,
So that SJT
that's right, yeah.
is it basically like the UK CAT?
It's something similar. They're not going to ask you about Socrates or
It's not
something.
medical science.
It's not medical
I
science.
know, but like
it's
I feel
basically
like that
just
would be easier for
thinking
medical
process.
It's more ethical.
It's about
We
ethics.
could do
It's
UK
about
as well
how
as
you
it's
handle
not.
responsibility, just like that. You can train yourself. You can get into online courses. There are countless people who have YouTube channels, courses that are going to help you ace your SJTs.
Dr. Ahmed,
Maybe.
Medical
For us, I think we graduate in June. We're going to do our final exams in June, hopefully, maybe, and we might finish in July. So if you don't get your PMQ, your MBBS by August, you can get the dean's letter and subsidize that. You got your IELTS and OET, some of them passed or something like that. You get that done out of the way, then you have to apply to the foundation program. Now you're eligible to apply. You do your PLAB 1, you do your first round of SJT or the second round if you can't do it. PLAB 2, you do that. You get an email from the GMC saying you're good to go. You get your visa and everything sorted out. And your UK Foundation training program starts. Yes.
One more question. What is the difference between the first plan and the second plan?
The first PLAB, yeah, it's like USMLE. First one is like an exam, a regular exam.
Is it like the exam that we would do in the end of our UG 6 year? Like
It's something like that. Yeah,
UG4
they're gonna test you on. Let's say you have this case. What investigations do you
UG4
think?
and up, basically.
But
Yeah.
it's clinical, right? Not
Okay.
medical science. It's not
It's clinical.
biochemistry.
Yes, exactly. No biochemistry, no
Obstetrics,
biology.
cardiology, internal medicine.
Both of them?
No, the first one.
Second is an awesome.
The second one is an OSCE. You go into a station. They have a patient. Maybe what do you call it? The thing here, carpal tunnel syndrome. They get a case of I don't know something. Thyroid. Yeah, exactly. Diseases like that. You have to diagnose it and explain for the doctor that's there what's happening. Any questions? So.
Is there faith for us? Can we actually?
Yeah, of course, it's easier now than ever. It's easier. If you had to apply in 2018, you're going to be shoved into the secondary list. Now you have a chance to get into the primary list, and if you get a good score, you're going to beat someone from the UK to the place. And guess what? More good news. We're like the kid from the chocolate factory thing. There's going to be more spots for all of the foundation schools coming after 2022, or coming in 2022. I forgot the exact date, but 2022 was the thing. So there's going to be more spots. They really need doctors. And finally, when you become a doctor, you might get yourself your very own Oompa Loompa. Yes. So now we're going to talk about news. We're going to talk about the atmosphere in the UK. So before we do that, I have to talk about a really important date, 2016. Junior doctors were really working hard. They had 24-hour shifts, 24 hours, 36-hour on-calls, and they were paid really badly. The pay was terrible, so they went on strike, unsafe hours. They said, if your pilot who's driving an airplane is sleep deprived, would you want him to fly your airplane? No. Would you want the doctor who's doing surgery on you to be sleep deprived? No. So that's what they did, and they succeeded. Good thing. Has anyone watched Green Wing? Even the guys from that medical drama show got into it. I don't know. I guess it's only me. So here is the Guardian. The UK, a month ago, the British Medical Association sent out a report to the NHS saying that they are deficient by 50,000 doctors. They need 50,000 doctors. They have a deficiency in vitamin D, and I'm not talking about regular vitamin D, I'm talking about vitamin doctor. So they have to increase their workforce by 31%. 31%, this could be 1% is enough for all of us to get in. So in the regular European countries, they have a 3.1 doctor, they have 3.7 doctors for 1,000 people. In the UK, they have 2.8 doctors for 1,000 people. In Germany, they have 4.5 doctors for every 1,000 people. So they are really, really deficient, and they can't keep up with medicine. The NHS is spread thinly. Yes.
How many medical graduates graduate?
6,600 and something like that.
From the UK?
Every year from the UK. Yeah. 7,000. Let's say 7,000. So yeah. Questions? No. Okay. Moving on. Another report published by the British Medical Association again. Doctors are retiring at a triple rate. Doctors have been retiring in Wales and England more than 3 times as much. Because
psychiatrists, they give even 2 more years before any other doctor.
Exactly, something like that. The doctors have been trying to leave the NHS as soon as possible because of factors that we're going to mention now. And this is good. The more doctors leave, the more spots for us. Now, in 2019, when COVID was in its prime, universities of Lancaster, East Anglia, Oxford, Cambridge, they all graduated their 6th-year students without the written component of their exams. They just did the OSCE and they said, "Yo, pass. Just go and help the NHS because they're deficient in doctors." So they graduated medical students early just so they can fill the gap in the NHS. So they really, really need doctors at the moment. And now we're going to talk about another thing. Here's an arbitrary question. Please don't answer. What do you think is in common between this doctor and this doctor? And I'm not talking about their skin color, please. Their melanin pigmentation has nothing to do with what's going on.
Smile.
This guy is Dr. Jude. He's from the UK. He is an orthopedic surgeon. And annually, meaning each year, he's going to earn £90,000. Basically like about $120,000. This is Dr. Antonio J. Webb from the USA. And he earns a fat paycheck of $600,000 a year, basically making 6 times as much as poor Dr. Jude over here. Now, do you think Dr. Antonio is working 6 times as much as Dr. Jude? Is he doing 6 times as many surgeries as him? No, but the medical system in the United States, there's private insurance, all of that, and doctors are really well paid off when they're an attending physician. Residents get bamboozled. This guy, when he's a consultant, basically the same level as him, he's gonna get paid $90,000. And if you're gonna do the same amount of work, if you're doing the same thing, why not do it across the pond? And I mean the Atlantic Ocean, and get $600,000 more. So this is what goes in the thoughts of every doctor. You might say £90,000 is okay for me, but what about if you want a new Range Rover, whatever it's called? What if you want to go to a vacation in Micronesia, explore the coral reefs? What if you want to go to Switzerland? That's not going to be enough. Okay, so here's a little video. I call it the Big Burnout, Big Bailout. And it talks about doctors. This is in 2013, mind you. So even in 2013, the situation was really bad. Look at this poor doctor and the bags under her eyes. Listen, please.
The last 3 weeks I've done 2 weekends and had 1 off. And I'm supposed to, if I stayed on the road, I'd be on nights over Christmas, which wouldn't be negotiable if I was, permanently here on the motor. Definitely has an impact, having to say no to doing a lot of things with friends and family. The rotor's pretty tough, and I see the Regis doing their rotor, and they're doing lots of nights and late shifts, and I don't think it's very flexible.
So many staff have left or moved on that A&E depends on locum doctors that work in a freelance capacity alongside regular staff.
So doctors in the UK, they're leaving the NHS for New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Canada and America because they get paid much more there and the work-life balance is better. So that's why a lot of doctors are leaving, a lot of doctors are retiring, and not a lot of doctors are graduating there. So these factors create the perfect opportunity for us to sink our teeth in and suck the blood of the UK. Like
That's a
vampire.
recorded video.
So I don't know what you guys think, but for me, the M in medicine stands for money. Yes, Mr.
G, yeah. So I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
All of these people that are living, of course,
Yes.
they are intellectual individuals
Yes.
who became doctors. They're not just leaving for money, perhaps,
Yes.
for a better lifestyle. Now, I agree, we should go take that opportunity, but don't you think it's also going to be difficult on us? كأوان خدش وين البان
Exactly.
I'm
of
a
course.
good
It's
Yeah,
not-
it's easier.
It's not going to be easy, but we're going to talk about what happened after the riots in 2016. Remember the poor doctor that we saw with the bags under her eyes?
Yeah.
This was 2013. They had 24-hour shifts. They had 36-hour on-calls. They had to go into hospital every other weekend, so they didn't really have enough time to socialize with their friends. There was a lot of burnout, a lot of physician suicide, nurse suicide because of the stress. This was in 2013. After 2016, a few things have changed, and we're going to talk about that. First, here, the 2016 contract after the riots. What changed? Hospitals, now they can't do 24-hour shifts. It's illegal by the law to do 24-hour shifts or 36-hour on-calls. You can only do 40 hours in a week, 40 hours, meaning 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. That's all that you have to do in a hospital, although contracts differ, and you might get a better contract, a worse contract, meaning more hours, less hours, depending on the contract that you're going to sign. Here are the ranks of doctors in the UK. Just like the military, you first start in the bottom, but this is counterintuitive, you start from the top. But whatever, and FY1 is basically the first year doctor. He's the front line of being a doctor or whatever. And their salary is annually £28,243.
Very well.
And in the second year, they're gonna have an increase of 32 whatever pounds, and this was the 2016 contract. There was an update. In 2020, you're gonna get more money now. That was the old contract. The new contract, you're gonna still get 2,800, but they added in an extra 600 pounds here, an extra 1,000 here, extra 1,000 here, and a couple of thousand here. And the thing is, after you finish your foundation training, you're going to go into core training. What is core training? Is basically branching off into medicine or surgery or pediatrics or gynecology. So yeah, here you're going to either become a medical doctor doing medicine or you're going to become a surgeon. You're going to have to choose a specialty. This is after you rotate through stuff in FY1. So coming back to your situation, Sana. So if us, we're medical graduates from here, we want to do the foundation program, we're going to start in FY1. But if you do 1 year of internship or do a break year in your country, but of course you have to do training. You can't just take a break year and start at FY2. If you take a break year, you have to start at FY1. If you do internship in your country, you can do an FY2 standalone. Basically, you start at FY2. Or if you finish 2 years of internship in your country, you can do something called a CREST and come in right here at CT1. You're going to bypass the foundation years in the UK and you're going to start directly here. And after that, you might say, oh, Ibrahim, I don't understand the numbers 3, 4 and all that. Nodal points is basically the salary that you receive. The more nodal points you have, the bigger the salary. And you might say, wait, an ST1 has the same salary as a CT1? Some specialties, they don't have CTs, they have STs right away. So the guy is going to start at ST1 and then move on, or you can do CT and then do CT4, and then after that you're going to do a few years of fellowship and start over here.
Let's say that you want to be a cardiologist.
Yes.
Orthopedics.
Yeah.
Here versus the UK, where does it take the longest, or is it the same years?
going to be, I think, basically the same. But in the UK nowadays, you don't have to do core training. You don't have to go through general surgery and all of that. After foundation training, you can go right directly into orthopedic training. And other training too, like cardiology, not cardiothoracic surgery. Cardiology, you're going to skip medicine, internal medicine, and you're going to go right into cardiology.
But question, don't you go through everything, medicine, surgery, in the foundation?
Yes, you do.
And
But
it
depending
depends.
on the contract that you're on, if I'm surgically oriented, I'm not going to do pediatrics and gynecology. I want to do more surgery stuff. So depending on the foundation school and the, let's say, the program that you choose, you're going to do the
Can
foundation.
you change your mind at the end of the program?
Yeah, if let's say you get accepted in Scotland,
Yeah.
let's say you get accepted in Scotland, they have several different programs for everyone. If you're more surgically oriented, you're going to do vascular surgery, cardiothoracic, neurosurgery, whatever. If you're more medical, you're going to do internal medicine, pediatrics, or I don't know, the medical stuff.
What exactly,
Gastroenterology, yeah.
what exactly is the difference between the practice of foundation and the court that you mentioned?
Core training, yeah. So classically, you're going to do your foundation, and then you go into medicine or surgery.
Yeah.
This is core training. Core medical training or core surgical training. So core surgical training is basically going through the different surgical subspecialties again, and then choosing a specialty when you become a specialty registrar. But nowadays, you can just bypass that. Go from 1, 2, all the way to 3, right here. But if you want to do, let's say, a classical pathway, you want to do general surgery, you can go into FY1, FY2, and then do CT1, CT2. You're going to become a general surgeon here, and then you're going to do different, let's say, hepatobiliary surgeon or something like that. For internal medicine, let's say, you're going to do FY1, FY2, core medical training 1, core medical training 2, and then you're going to choose a specialty here. You do medicine, only medicine here, and then you're going to do gastroenterology, cardiology, blah, 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 all the way in here. So yeah.
Less, if not the same, then less years.
Exactly, yeah. Any more questions about this? Now we're going to break down the salary. I'm sorry if it's too long. I'm sweating already. Yeah, sure.
It's gonna make noise for your video.
Okay.
We're almost done anyway.
Yeah, we're almost done, hopefully. So this is an NHS paycheck. This is what you're going to see when you get to the sweet, sweet day of payday. So you have basic pay. We talked about here, this is your basic pay, by the way. If you don't do night shifts, if you don't do extra hours, if you don't do weekends, if you don't do anything, this is what you're going to earn. But if you do extra hours, you do night shifts, weekend, unsociable hours, if you do research, they're going to give you money for that as well. So expect more money. This is a bit tricky. Yeah, this is the basic money. If you're going to do 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, yeah, that's the money you're going to receive. But if you do extra, you're going to get paid extra. And you're going to get bonuses too. So here, we have a doctor, foundation year 1 in general surgery rotation. His name is Oliver Burton. And yeah, foundation year doctor. And remember, the standard hours are 40. But you can work extra, and depending on your contract, if your contract says you're going to work extra, you have to work extra because it's your contract, but it's not going to be that much extra because it's illegal to overwork doctors now. So this guy had, he did his basic pay. His basic pay was £2,400. This is the basic pay. Additional roster hours, so he did additional hours. He got £311 for the additional hours. He did night duty, and night duty is multiplied by 37%. So each hour accounts for 37% more money. He received £170 for night duty. I don't know the calculation here. He talked about it, but it was a bit complicated, so I just concentrated on the money. That's what I'm interested in anyways. So the weekend, he does 1 in 3 weekends, and he gets £162 for that. 1 in 3 weekends, meaning do it once a month, something like that. Here, his overall pay was £3,045. So if you get all of this money and calculate all, it's going to be £3,445. £3,045. But there are things that you have to pay. National insurance. You're going to have to insure yourself if something happens. You have to pay for the NHS basically. You're paying for yourself or your colleagues. that's going to be £269, and it depends on the doctor. If you're a young doctor, junior doctor, you're going to pay less. If you're more senior, you have to pay more. And then the NHS pension. What do you call pension in Kurdish? Taqa'ud, yeah. Your taqa'ud, if you want to pay it, by the way, if you don't want to pay it, if you plan on going to America after you do UK,
You have to
you
pay
don't
them to
have to
pay
pay
it.
it. Huh?
You have to pay them to pay you for your pension.
Exactly. They're going to take money from your salary, invest it, and then give it back to you later. Yeah. Health insurance is important, I think. You have to pay it, regardless, because anything happens to you, you have to go to the NHS. The NHS pension is not really that important. And student loans, we don't have student loans. We're going to be free. This guy has to pay 69 and more, by the way. You can choose how much you pay your student loans. He might be £100,000 in debt, but he's paying $69 a month because he needs the money. So net pay, after all the taxes and the stuff, he gets £2,448. £500 is a million dinars. Let's say he earns £2,500. He's going to be earning 5 million dinars compared to here.
So
So
Yeah, but keep
they
in
get
mind-
like a million or something like $1,200,000. Yeah.
Yeah, but keep in
less
mind,
even,
like apartment, living, transportation.
This is going to be depending on you. If you want to live fancy, you're going to have
Even
to
if
pay
you don't
more.
live fancy, I don't think there's
No,
like-
no. Living, electricity is really cheap. A kilowatt, look at it, I even googled electricity. A kilowatt of energy is 17p. 17p meaning like cents, 17 cents.
Pence.
Yeah, pence.
It's cheaper here.
You don't pay sometimes, you just play with the clock and you don't have to pay. So yeah, let's look at another doctor. This one is more senior. He's a specialty, he's a core trainee, not a foundation doctor. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, don't worry. So his net pay, the other one was 28,000, sorry, for his salary. This guy is getting paid 38,500, let's say, annually. So his basic pay is, he gets paid 18.5 pounds an hour. His base pay is 3,224. That's without doing any night shifts, any extra stuff. He does additional roster hours. He gets 523 pounds more for his additional hours. And then he does night duty and he gets 320 pounds for that as well. And then he does 1 in 4 weekends, 193 pounds. So all of that, I think, is equal to roughly 4,000 something
So this is
pounds.
extra.
Yeah, extra stuff. So you're going to be earning 4,000 pounds a month. It's basically like 8 million dinars by that point. And he's been a doctor for 3 years now. Foundation year 1, foundation year 2, core trainee. So you're going to get 5 million in the beginning and go up from that, 8 million now. And then he has to pay taxes. His tax is PAYE, income tax. Because he's a big doctor now, he has to pay income tax, £533. NHS, National Insurance, £406. He pays insurance grade A, so there are ranks of insurance. And then the NHS pension, £299. Remember the other guy paid less. Yes.
Does the rate, the tax rate for the NHS, whatever it's called, and the pension plan, it's stable, even if your salary increases, it increases with it, right?
Yeah, exactly. The tax. Yeah. So the insurance, I think it's base insurance. You can apply for a different category of insurance, but the pension you don't have to pay. But the income tax, this you have to pay. 20% of everything that you make is going to go into the tax. And now you might say, Dr. Ibrahim, why is your heart so black and empty? And
Because all the cakes that you
you're going to tell me you should be auscultating the patient, doctor, not the money. And I'll tell you, you're having a bad dream. There's a demon called Dora, and she's giving you a nightmare.
you give us
So, you must say, doctor, but Mr. Ibrahim, you promised me a lot of money. You said you're going to have a vacation in the coral reefs of Micronesia. You're going to go to Switzerland. You're going to buy a new Range Rover. And by the way, it doesn't come with the girl. You have to pay them, buy them separately. So what do you do? What does you do? You do locum.
What does you can do?
Yes, you can locum.
By the way, the doctor.
What is a locum?
نقدر نحكي about topic
What
actually.
else can I do?
This is the last part, by the way.
Guys,
we're done.
this okay.
So a locum doctor, you remember we had one in 3 weekends, one in 5 weekends, one in 8 weekends even.
Yeah,
You can work in your weekends or work in the nights. If you really don't have nothing to do, might as well work, and you're going to be paid a lot more than a regular doctor. So basically, extra work for extra money. And let's say someone reports sick in this department. Last minute, what does you do? You hire a locum.
You just hire
You need more doctors because your department is understaffed at the moment.
Hire
Hire a locum. There are someone that has exam fever. You hire a locum. You have COVID. Hire a locum. But you cannot hire a locum to fill the empty and dark place. in your house. So how do you locum? How do you do any locuming or whatever? You go into the website, it's called NHS Jobs, and you Google jobs basically. There currently is, this is yesterday by the way, 30,287 jobs that you can apply to. And each one is different. So there are psychiatry jobs and all that. You have to choose your own specialty. So here it's a bit blurry, but we have a rotational trust doctor, FY1. If you want to do locum in general surgery, you're going to be paid this much a year, but you're going to be a locum. And let's go to here, let's wait here, oh, sorry.
That's you.
Sugar mommy.
Okay, wait, that was not supposed to be that. So if you want to locum in the A&E department, you're going to earn, remember the doctor that we looked at, he earned 18.3 pounds an hour?
Yes.
You're going to earn 40 to 100 pounds per hour. 100 pounds per hour if they're really, really desperate. So basically, you can do a shift for 10 hours or 6 hours, and you're going to buy a new phone or whatever you want to do.
Plumber in Australia, $80 an hour.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. McDonald's employees get paid £8 an hour, so you're going to be making as much as 10 McDonald's employees. But you might be making 10 times more than a McDonald's employee, but you're not going to be making as much as a sugar baby. You're going to get paid $15,000 a month if you have a sugar mama.
What's her number?
So,
This
yeah.
woman
What's
pays
her number?
15,000.
Yeah, and it's less this month because he forgot to clean the pool. So
She
cut his
usually
money.
pays 30,000.
30,000 or something like that. Yeah, so don't be a doctor.
Be a
Be a sugar baby. And thank you very much.